Welcome back, Player One. Today, I wanted to talk about the things that we have waiting for us when we come home. I'm obviously going to be talking about the board games, but in the general sense, it's about that invitation. How do you invite yourself to come game? For a lot of the board game world, they're in a sphere of being invited. They get to contemplate, oh, do I have that time slot open on that day of the week? They check their calendar, they check their friends that are going to be there, and then they go, yeah, that sounds like a good time. As a solo player, we just wake up and go, man, I've been meaning to play a game. I've been wanting to play a game, and today's going to be the day. We go to work, and XYZ happens. It could be everything going sideways. It could be just the commute home is just full of traffic, full of stress, and suddenly you arrive. You've got your box of fun, and you just no energy, no motivation, and where do you get that invitation? Because at the end of the day, it's you who's fueling everything. You've got to admin the whole game. You've got to play the game and learn the rules, keep the rules, but you also got to set it up. And game setup is often like one of the high rated points on somebody's purchase decisions. They're going to be looking at it. Oh, it's a long setup. And I understand. There's games that I don't pull out because it's a longer setup anymore, but I do sometimes enjoy that. So, how do we facilitate enjoying that, or the pieces of it that we do enjoy, shortcut the pieces that we don't enjoy, and get to the box of delights that we know will rock our socks off once we're actually finally embedded in the fun? So, first things first, I'm just I got a Taz OT box. Um, Thrift stores, garage sales, these kinds of things facilitate a lot of the peripherals I get. But in here is just a whole bunch of dice, little dice bag, rings. It circles something. I got some glass beads in here. So it doesn't have to be expensive. Go to the thrift store and grab cheap stuff. Just something that looks the part. All of a sudden, it draws your attention, brings you in. One more. This one I've got mainly set up for Spirit Island. So these are the threat tokens. This is the scythe coins. Scythe coins actually for a long time they were like the cheapest or most affordable upgrade coins. This I like to craft. So this is the Dahan buildings. I got my invaders. I even painted them. So you know just that little bit of extra made it so that it was an inviting thing when I looked at it at those low energy moments. And I went, oh, I want to get out this little box. I want to put the little Dahan out. I want to get out my painted things and put them in place. And maybe I don't actually play the game. Worst case scenario, I never actually play the game. And I just put it back. But I got to look at stuff. And as that shame and that disappointment comes in those moments where you're packing back up and you're like, man, I looked forward to this day. I looked forward to playing this game. I looked forward to all of the fun that I expected to have, and now I don't even have the stomach to go through with the fun, like the joy in my life. It's such a strange dynamic to encounter. It's stomach turning. And in those moments, you do need to anchor yourself and remember who you are, because we are social creatures. We're dynamic people, and without that invitation, without that group activity, a puzzle really is just your brain being taxed. How do you have fun with that if you've already had a burnout day, if you've already had things thrown in your face and all of these other things disappointing you, amounting into a final moment at the end of your day where you're supposed to recharge, where you're supposed to finally have your time, and you can't? It's such a roadblock in the hobby of solo board gaming. And I know other people in like the games groups, they'll have their moments where they're just not having fun, or they don't have the time, or they don't have the energy, and it happens to everybody in all these spheres. But for a solo gamer, there is there's a level of self-reliance that we have to be aware of and we have to acknowledge. So I call it preparing my box of delights, but you can really do whatever you need to allow yourself to get there. So I brought out my Onirim games. I've got a couple here, and all of them, when you open this box, Shadi Shadi Torby, I can never say his name right. He builds these to be an experience so that as you come into this world, you have something that is inviting you further to find and discover. And it's nicely packaged. It's a nice little game. Uh, if you don't know, the Oniverse games are all done by the same designer, and he's got a program inside the box where you play the base level, then you add advanced rules, and then you add more of the components for what is essentially expansions included. What a delightful man. I just love designers and the artistry involved in this hobby, but it it comes to a different level in what Shadi has brought to the table here with his Oniverse games. That kind of in the box uh, presentation, it just doesn't come very often. So it's always stood out to me ever since. The other one that you should think about, or at least recall and remember, is that there's folded space and other insert brands. And having an insert to help you get things out and onto the table, that speeds up the setup, and it really can make it so that somebody who is averse to that setup part of the game, they're able to power through quick, get my insert, and that's another delight. You see that you set yourself up for success, right? Anyways, I've got Bot Factory here by Vital Lacerta and his wonderful team. Uh, I'll never be able to say this right. Quintella Martins, that's where we'll go. Uh, Bot Factory actually has all of this as what Eagle Griffin Games, the publisher, just does naturally. So this is actually all well contained, and you don't have to wonder, oh, where's my crap, where's my stuff. It all just comes out. You can set up, you can get going, and you don't have to think about the the fiddly bits, the Ziploc bags and whatnot, because I'm not gonna lie, Ziploc bags are my number one enemy. I'm a big fan of drawstring bags, but a lot of them are cloth or velvet material, and you really end up having a lot of space taken up just by that material. So I actually went out of my way to get other stuff down the road because it just became something that I was fiddling with in board games and not enjoying. So that's what I really recommend to you. Identify the like irksome things, the friction points in your gaming, whether it be setup, whether it be learning the rules or keeping the rules, and find ways to facilitate a shortcut. So, like gaming rules, every most on Board Game Geek will have a files section, and you should be able to find users created cheat sheets like player reference guides. Find the one that is rated great, download it. Most likely, it's going to be exactly what you need. If you find that it's not doing, maybe check the other ones as well. But I just go with whatever is the most popular, and I actually just use it as a PDF to keep myself refreshed, and then I like to delete it. I like to try to keep the rules in my brain. And yeah, anyway, we're gonna go on to Robinson Crusoe. I've said before this was one of my early purchases. This is the old box, and you can see it's sun faded. I've had it forever, and my old Magic addiction came in handy. I've got all the cards stuffed away in here. I've got a little baggie for, I think that's players, a plano for my tokens, and inside of the treasure chest, just some more cool bags. And these are all just ones that I found at thrift stores. I think this stuff, one of them, coffee beans from El Salvador, came in one of the bags. But just having something that was fitting, thematic, matched my vision for this. It really delighted me to have such an experience. And then, as a proud Canadian, I identified a little bit of a hidden secret there in the artwork. So the game gives and I give back, and then suddenly, when I'm at my lowest, and I know I would really like to fail completely and starve or get infected by some cursed island. When I'm in that mood and I'm going, yeah, I would play that if I can actually get it onto the table, get it set up, and get to that first turn. That first turn is sometimes that's the longest road. Getting to the first turn. The rest of the game might be 2 hours, but that first turn is the longest road. And it's these things, having that one's plain looking. But it's these things that as I open my box of fun, I find myself delighted that I got ready one day out randomly shopping, and I said, hey, that reminds me, I like those little drawstring bags. I'm going to grab those for my board game. I threw it in there and I didn't play. But when I did pull out the game to play, and I remembered, hey, I bought this at the thrift store. That was so fun, and it's in there now, and now I'm just one step closer to turn one. And that is the magic that comes when you finally invite yourself to the table. Because nobody else is. We're we're solo gaming, and at the end of the day, I can't be the motivation for myself when I'm at my lowest, because it just, yeah, I'm not built that way. We know ourselves. We're creatures of habit. So allow myself to fail. It's fine. I can pack up a box. I can put it all back away. I can go to bed, and I can also learn a little bit in that moment. What do I want? Why am I there? How am I so ready to play but unable? How does a solo player even look cool? Nobody sees me. Nobody sees me pulling out my game. I still go to the game store for stuff, but not everybody's going to be into like weird customization things like that. So do yourself a favor. I've got a Joy for Undaunted, but I keep the tokens. After I punch tokens, I always wait till I've got my box set up before I throw this out. This actually holds it all in so that the rules go on top and then it doesn't get jumbled around very badly. I've got little ramekins that I've used before for tokens, and these are great for tokens, and even like this one's big enough to hold cards. You can buy a lot of stuff from like GameGenics and different brands as well that are specifically purposely built for quick setup, and here's your token holder. Go to Stonemeyer Games. I'm pretty sure that they sell a lot of their stuff, and like Wormspan comes with those little token packets. I don't know about the other Span games. I don't have them, but just allow yourself to have a shortcut to your enjoyment, because over the course of your gaming, you're going to enjoy so many different things that when you go back to visit one and you realize, oh man, this box is just a mess when I open it, that little bit of frustration, I laugh when I find a box full of mess, but not after a bad day. After a bad day, I open a box full of mess and I go, not playing that. I don't want to sort this. It doesn't, like, the Imperium series. Actually, so repurposing, Magic, the Imperium series, it doesn't sit nicely in the box the way that it was intended, but I'm not buying a folded token insert. So instead, I've just got like, I think it's the Persians and the Greeks, and the tokens, and then the invasion deck. I got the bot cards in the back there. Hard to see, but yeah, there's a little space in the back there for the bot cards, and just having that makes it so that I know if I want to play Imperium, I can just pull that out. I can have that going really, really quick without having to go into the box that I know. Well, I store it vertically as well, so it's my fault. Graphic design and box design really make or break the experience. So I've got Snow Planner. It's one of my imports, and honestly, they had an insert in this box. It sucked. I wasn't able to keep things nice, so I ended up this is a little crystal dish that I just never had any use for, so it goes in here. I've got these fun little drawstring bags, the velvet ones and stuff, but I started making origami boxes, and it's blown my mind. It's revolutionized some of the box of delights, because the paper thin, the custom sizing, it all makes it so that I'm happy to like sort it out and see how well it fits. And this is just a spin down counter. These are actually often made out of wood for different like D&D groups and stuff like that. They're called health trackers. Find one. You're going to calculate victory points so much that why not have something that you can just blip blip blip. I've always valued the tactileness of a board game. But at the end of a game of Civolution, when I'm just racking up points, I end up just going with that, and it's yeah, points calculation is always better if I'm not thinking that it's frustrating, right? I just pulled out Mezzin. Mezzin, I've made sure that it's got the little drawstring bags that I can grab and I can just play really quick. In Feast for Odin and my Uwe games, I keep all of the stuff for solo play, like the two colors, all in one of these little drawstring bags. Right. My favorite roll and write is actually Castles of Burgundy, the dice game. It's one of a few games where you literally just roll and then you write. You're gonna get a little map. There's I think 4 different ones to choose from, but it's these small box experiences that facilitate a quick to the table play that gets you from point A to point B and to turn 1 within just a minute or two. And on those low energy evenings when you've just got nothing left in you, having something that you know moves quickly to first turn, that can actually be the reward that you need. A little bit of that enjoyment, engaging with your hobby instead of just shame and disappointment where you're looking at a half set up game and you're packing it up already. Looking at that and not wanting to sort that through is actually such a big burden when you come down to the ends of your days. If we're not able to relax and if we're not able to actually recharge, that drained feeling, it never ends. Exhaustion is huge in this world. So just remember that you've got little things that you can do. Maybe on that night where you don't have the energy, you do some origami. Don't stress about the hang-ups. Don't stress about the shame. Don't stress about the disappointment, because everybody in this world has their shames that come from bad purchases, chasing the fads, and trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're just a solo gamer. There is no Joneses. There is no keeping up. So feed yourself, bring in something that makes you happy, engage on the level that you can at the moment. Appreciate what you can at the moment, too. Allow yourself to be in a place of needing a recharge. That's not a bad thing. It, the self discovery that comes in solo board gaming is really more important in that moment so that you can settle yourself. Just remember that we all have hang-ups when it comes to our identity and our self-worth, and finding enjoyment in something that brings joy in this world. That is a struggle. That is the pursuit. That is what everyone is on track for. Don't deny yourself. Don't pretend like there isn't a hope of finally discovering the game that makes you so happy that you'll play it every night, even at the lowest energy. Because these things are all obtainable. None of us want to be around things that we love when we're just in a sour mood. Give yourself grace and allow that sourness to pass and allow all of those feelings to be real, because denying the emotion is no good for the mental. It's no good for the tomorrow, and it's no good for actually coming to a resolution. Just no good for making yourself appreciate what is. That's all that solo board gaming can offer, really, is just a way to appreciate what you have and that puzzle that unveils. There's no great resolve, not unless you actually are engaged on that level. And that's a unique thing about humans. We can be very imaginative and just immersed in something when we want to. When it's part of our obsession, it's so infectious to really get obsessed about something. And yet, you have one bad day full of just error upon error, and then you get back to home life and you find yourself in front of that obsession, it just doesn't do it. You can't fall into that imaginative world. You can't build your own climax. And that's natural. Humans don't do that on their own. That's why we're social creatures. We do that when we're having joy, when we're actually enjoying life and living it at its fullest and able to be our best versions of ourselves. Solo board games are riot. I'm having fun. I'm, feasting with Odin. I'm raiding in a Viking, and that's great for when I'm happy. What about when I'm not? What about when I'm having days that just are way too long at work and I still need to recharge? I choose Odin and it's just too much stuff, all the bits, and ah, what's going to be my relief? Where am I going to find that new bucket of water, that fresh drink or whatever you want to call it? Honestly, it can come down to just taking a step back and asking yourself, what am I playing? Do I have anything less cerebral? And that's the next corner of the collection. You can have a collection that's lean and mean, full of big hits, the Board Game Geek list that just keeps on giving you more and more heavy game weight games. That's not the way to facilitate your lowest days or your low energy days. For me, I was blown away by Tokyo Highway. It's just all wheels. You're laying track, you're putting down a little car when the track is in the right place. It's just tactile. And it blew my mind that, oh, I can grab this, enjoy myself, and at the end of the day, there's nothing that gets me to set up and move around on a table just with little wooden bits that, like, maybe Jenga, but I don't play Jenga solo. Another one that's really been a good one for low energy is one that I do just stare at. This game, it's called City of Six Moons. Its premise is that aliens brought this, and the manual is in the alien language, and it's the player's job to interpret the manual, to figure out how to play it. All I have to do is stare at this game. I don't have to play. I don't know how to play it. I might be on the wrong path. And on those low energy evenings when I don't have anything else that I can actually do, well, I can stare at the rule book of this and I can write down, yeah, maybe this symbol means something like this. Maybe try that next time. It's just theory crafting on what a board game might be. So weird. And yet, that's hitting on different levels when I need it to. And it's weird. There's going to be a lot of opinions on that game. I'm weird though, and I got to lean into that. Find my fun. It's got to be zany, it's got to be bizarre, and then I'm going, whoa, cool. So that one, that invites me to the table when I don't want to do anything other than just rage at the world. Suddenly, oh yeah, so you have 6 moons. This is just crazy. Look at it mean. And to just be able to flip that page and be able to smile and laugh and go, I'm doing my hobby, while actually doing nothing and recharging, that's magic. That's the magic that only comes when you finally realize and admit that you can't always be playing the heavy games. You can't always be busting out this war of mine, because solo board gaming is a war. And for the war that we face, I really suggest that you build yourself a box of delights and get yourself ready to have a bad day. Because, yeah, success is something that you prepare for. Nothing in this world goes great without a plan. So, plan for yourself, treat yourself great, allow yourself to have failures, allow yourself to have bad days, low days, good days, and great days. Because they're coming, man. The greatness is having enjoyment. So let's streamline it, let's celebrate it, and let's find ourselves our own ways to enjoy the hobby and share that together. So comment, do whatever little button presses YouTube likes, but make sure that we discuss the fun things that we've left inside, ready to greet us when we are opening up our favorite games. Take it easy, player one. We'll get together next time. Bye.